Hello! This is You've Got an Hour with Adam Griffin. This is not Mrs. Doubtfire, although that hello felt like that. So, today, the background looks different, if you can see it. I think it's cute. You know, it says You've Got an Hour on it. It gives you the handle. It talks about what's going on here. And now I can have my background look however it looks. I can film from different locations, and none of that will matter. Is this too distracting? Do you like this? Please let me know. So, this week at a glance, I had a lot of things that made me say, damn! And we're going to get into the ones that have to do with news in a second. But for myself, I just got really overwhelmed this week. I don't know how anybody else is doing out there, but check in with yourselves. I rescheduled therapy. I'm in my friend Stephanie's house right now, which you know her from the podcast. And she's out of town, so I'm babysitting her dog, which he's so cute, and he's hiding right now. I gotta go find him in a minute. But his name is Bowie, like David Bowie, and I like to call him Dobby. Which, there's no more to the story than that, other than he looks like he could be a little house elf. But she thinks he looks like a rock star. It's a point that we fight about. Anyway, here are the 6 things this week that made me say, damn! First of all, Celine Dion is back. She just did a triumphant return to the stage, singing hits at Ellie Saab anniversary show. I don't know if you saw the performance. People were up in arms about, she's lip singing or whatever. And I'm like, who cares? So long as she's out and she's performing and she's having fun, I'm happy to see her back. Like, what are people love to complain for no reason. They really do. And yeah, she might have been lip singing. I don't know. She might have been lip singing in Paris for all I'm concerned. I couldn't tell. And I guess I'm easily fooled because I wouldn't have thought she was lip singing, even though it's pretty obvious that she probably was. Anyway, welcome back, Celine. I hope this is steps towards, you performing and being back in the zeitgeist as you love being, because obviously music is your big passion in life, and we love to watch you do it. So, welcome back. Now, this is my favorite piece of news that happened this week. I don't know if you saw this. Drew Barrymore on her show is very touchy-feely. The Drew Barrymore Show. It airs in the morning where I live. I think it's syndicated, so it probably airs at different times in different places. But she's always touchy-feely. She doesn't understand when you have a bubble around you that it can be popped. Because she's popping every bubble. I mean, she's like Glinda and thinking that everyone's in her bubble. I don't know if that metaphor worked. I just like that Glinda's in a bubble. But this week, Martha Stewart was on her show, and she pushed Drew Barrymore away from her. Which is exactly how I think I would handle Drew Barrymore if I was around her on that show. I don't want to be touched. I don't know you. Back up. Back off. No. Yeah, Martha was saying something about people that she's dating, and Drew Barrymore got a little touchy-feely with her, and Martha said, you're the wrong gender. No. But also Martha's having quite a big week in general because, that Netflix documentary came out. Maybe that was 2 weeks ago, but she's having a big month, I'll say. And she's been doing the rounds on all these shows. She was on Andy Cohen's show, which was phenomenal. You should go watch that interview. And now she's been, on Drew Barrymore's show. And I didn't watch the rest of the interview. All I saw was the little clip of, talk about doing research for the show. All I saw was the clip of her pushing her off, and I was like, atta girl. Remember in 9 to 5 when that woman was constantly, every time the girls would do something, she'd be like, atta girl. That's how I felt. She pushed. When push comes to shove, Martha is pushing. Anyway, I'm glad she did it. She took one for the team. And Drew, maybe get back up, I think the formatting, here's the problem. Her set design is a couch, and it needs to be 2 chairs. She would benefit from having more of a Jennifer Hudson, Ellen setup, or maybe even a table between them. Because she can't keep her hands to herself. She's like that Selena Gomez song. Why? I don't know. Maybe there's something there where she just really wants to connect with people on the level, and I guess her love language must be touch. Which mine is to an extent, but hers is with strangers and stuff. And I know she's been in the business for a really long time, and her family it's like generational actors. Like the Barrymores have a theater in New York, or there's a theater named after a Barrymore actor. So I think she relates to every single person that she sees as an actor, and she struggled with sobriety and stuff as well. So maybe that's just like her reaching out and trying, but it's just too much. It's always too much to me. How do you feel about it? That's what I'd like to know. Okay, this isn't one of the six. So I gave you a list, or the audience had a list of things that you could choose from to be like the big seventh wonder, and we'll get to that in a second to see what you voted on. But here's a topic that additionally happened that I'd like to bring up. This is a little bit political, so if you don't like this, skip ahead 2 minutes. And I don't know that this will be only 2 minutes. You might have to skip forward more than that. But JFK Jr. this week. No, sorry, RFK Jr., not J. RFK Jr. this week. It's been circulating that some of his conspiracy theorists about health and medicine are worse than speculated. I mean, the man has some very interesting takes on things, and he's very anti-vax and all of that kind of stuff. And I have friends that are really interested in him and like him, and I just want to ask you why. I don't get it. I'm not understanding it, especially because the man was running as a third party person, and then he endorsed Trump, which clearly he's trying to get on his cabinet. And the friends that I know really weren't interested in that. They weren't interested in Trump, but then he endorsed them, and then they still like kept photos up taken with him at events and stuff like that. So it just, people were like really, really off the slide into the park of balls and just like sifting through the shit to love him. And I don't get it. So there's this article came out and it says, just a reminder, RFK Jr. thinks poppers cause AIDS. Now that seems like sort of like a gotcha title, but you need to go look at some of his history and things that he's doing, because I'm not getting it. I mean, this man is probably going to be in charge of something under this cabinet regime that's about to transpire. Not to scare us all, but I'm nervous as hell. And I think he's the wrong choice for any piece of power. I just, like, what do you mean? He thinks poppers cause AIDS. No. Sit in the silence of that, because that's just crazy. It's just crazy. And I don't like to use that word, but when it applies, if the shoe fits. So here's something that scared me this week. Oh, not me just giving you all the scare tactics. You're going to be like, gosh, Adam, calm it down. There is a meteor that is on its way to Earth. It's called Apophis, and they're questioning if it will hit the Earth in 2029. There's a very, 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 very slim chance. It's probably not going to. It's like 2 in a million participles potential. I'm not saying that right. I need to read more on this, honestly. And here I am talking into a microphone as if I know all the information. But it's probably not going to hit us, but it did scare me, and I'd like to just bring it to your attention. Yeah, so it's going to circulate, I believe it's like 2029, 2036. It's like every, what is that, 7 years? Yeah, something like that. Every 7 years, it's like doing an orbital spin, and it's going to, in 2029, based on projections, it is going to get closer to Earth than some of our satellites. So I don't love that. I really don't love that. No. No. And I know there's other meteors, there's other asteroids that do come within the vicinity of the Earth sometimes, and that I really haven't been paying attention to them. But I watched that movie Don't Look Up on Netflix, in which this very same thing happened, and it's feeling like that. Maybe that's what the movie was based off of, and I just didn't know it. But in the film, everybody's projecting that the asteroid's probably not going to hit the Earth. It's probably not going to. And then they have this Jeff Bezos type character in it who sends up rockets and tries to either blow it up or set it off of its course, and the rockets don't work. And Ariana Grande was in it. There was this huge pop concert to raise awareness about the asteroid, because some people didn't believe it, other people did. And they can literally see the asteroid getting closer and closer to Earth. And there's like a final meal. I guess I'm just going to spoil the movie for you, but I don't know. It feels like that a little bit. And I'm trying not to jump off the deep end. So Now I pushed you into the pool. So now you can be launched. Like the rocket that we're going to need to send to blow it up, maybe. Here's something fun. This and that was probably the biggest damn this week. They've been looking at the asteroid for decades. Okay, it's not like it just this week is a new thing, but I found out about it this week, and so it made me say a damn. And Forbes did a whole article about it that was like, we won't really know what's going to happen until 2027, and I'm like, I don't want any more anxiety. Okay? If an asteroid's going to hit the Earth, now what? Like, what are you supposed to do? All right, let's not. Okay, I'm getting out of the pool. Let's wait out. Here is something funny. So Amazon, well, funny's the operative word here. I don't know if it's funny. It was funny to me, but I'm sick, so we'll see. Amazon is shutting down Freevee, which is its ad-supported video streamer. It's kind of like another channel, if you will, but it's through Amazon. It was at one point IMDb TV. They had shows like Judge Judy's new show was on it. They had that jury duty show on it where it was like everybody was acting except for one jury member. And they filmed it kind of like The Office, except it wasn't scripted. And the person that was on the jury duty that didn't know about the whole situation, it like unraveled in a way that was, I guess, interesting. I watched like 2 episodes and wasn't that interested in it, which is probably why the app got shut down, because nobody's watching these shows. But I know a lot of people that watch jury duty. So that got shut down, and I'm just like, if Amazon can't keep something going, who can? You know? I guess we're going to have AI streaming in a minute. I mean, that's just scary. So here's something I found fascinating. Little Teddy Mellencamp. Okay, this is a woman from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She was best friends with Kyle Richards. They would imitate each other's walk. She had like an interesting gait in the way that she walked. She was a horse rider or a horse jockey, something like that. I don't know what the term would be if you're not like actively pursuing that as a career, but she was always on a horse, okay? And here's the thing. She's been in a relationship for a long time, married, successful marriage has been touted, but now all of these revelations are coming out about the fact that the relationship has been on a bad trajectory, and she cheated on the guy with a horse trainer. And the horse trainer, they were pregnant with their second child, like their spouse was pregnant actively while they were cheating. And that's just like a lot to wrap your brain around. Like, that is a worst case scenario for that. I mean, obviously, you find love where you find love. I'm trying not to judge the fact that they were a cheater, but it's not looking good. You know, like, what do you mean that the wife was, or the spouse was pregnant with their second child and you're over here cheating with the horse trainer? I don't know. It's not looking good. I'm not loving it. And then they did this whole photo shoot on the corner of where they live, of her with like a bag, and the husband was like kissing her goodbye. Very dramatic. Felt very much like she's trying to pledge herself to be back on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something, because it just looked very staged. It didn't really make a lot of sense. Like in LA, the paparazzi aren't just at your house every day. Like, you call them, you know? You call them, your agent calls them, you do press. Like, it's that paparazzi are not as rampant as they used to be. Everybody with a cell phone is basically paparazzi these days. So for someone to like capture that moment, come on. TMZ was called, right? Too much Zillow. You know Zillow, like the housing thing, right? Okay. You got it. Yeah, what do you think about this whole Teddy Mellencamp thing? I mean, people are going off the deep end. I mean, people really didn't like her to begin with. She was kind of annoying on the show. I get that. I didn't really care for her when she was on the show. I didn't, like, hate her. I just thought this is not the right casting choice. I know that they want the lead members of these shows to have a good, strong friend of. And, like, Kyle needed a friend on the show. She did. And she is the star of the show, for better or for worse. And so she was on the show for several seasons, but she was never really likable. So I almost feel like people have been looking for a reason to hate on her, and this is definitely a reason people would be hating on somebody, you know? I'll leave it there. Now, here's something really interesting. Wicked is doing a lot of promotionals this week, and the promo tour is looking phenomenal. You know, they've really gotten into and tapped into the characters that they're playing. Glinda and Elphaba. They're very green and very pink, very witchy vibes, very princess vibes for Glinda being princess. And every single outfit that they're doing, they're just killing it. It just looks so good. I love to see a good, high quality press tour. They did it with Barbie. Zendaya always does it. She did it with Dune specifically. Emma Watson did it for Beauty and the Beast. There's been a multitude of people that have had a really strong press tour, but this is one of the stronger ones I've ever seen, and it's so exciting. Even though Freevie's shutting down, it's so exciting to see studios actually put money behind the product. And like the red carpets are phenomenal, and they really have like, the yellow brick road carpet kind of vibe, and like all these pop-ups, and it's just exciting. It's really exciting to see. Now, with all of that comes another side of the coin, which is when people that are in the news a whole bunch, if they're there that much, the overexposure of that is going to make haters flock, right? So the seagulls are out, and they're mine, all over the place about the way that Cynthia looks, the way that Ariana looks, and I want to unpack it for a second. So people are, first of all, talking about their looks, and that's not something that we shouldn't be doing. That we shouldn't be talking about the way that a woman looks and telling them how to look. That's not a good thing to do, and we're in the year 2024. We know better than this, but it's a topic, and so I want to break it down. People are saying Ariana Grande is going through some sort of eating troubles. She's lost considerably a lot of weight, and we don't know what's going on there. It has concerned me as well. I hate to bring it up, but I mean, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little worried for her. I hope she's healthy, and I hope that we're all just being overly sensitive or overly cautious with what's happening. And on the flip side, Cynthia has had so much flack on this carpet tour because, first and foremost, they edited the poster. Somebody edited the poster to make it look more like the playbill. And she got very upset about that. The choices that were made were strongly her choices, and she stood behind that as an actor and all of these things. And I thought, first and foremost, did she have final say on the photo? Like, I didn't know that. I've never been in a project where I've seen the actor have final say like that, unless you're like the executive producer or you hired the people for the photo itself, like you're not the creative director for that. So that was interesting that conversation came out of it, her saying like, I know in the playbill you don't see her eyes, but I want you to connect with me as a soul, as a character, as Elphaba. I want you to really read into her efforts and her likability. And then, this whole conversation sparked into not being a likable conversation because she was basically saying like, you guys shouldn't edit me. You shouldn't be editing my photo. And people were saying, but we weren't doing it because it's you. We were doing it because it's a playbill. And the playbill looked a certain way. Like, Ariana's hand position was changed. The way that their hat is altered. Like, it was altered in ways that creatively, if you love the play, if you love the musical, not play the musical, if you love the musical, some of these things you expect to see. You expect to see it a certain way. You've waited decades at this point for this musical. People are really connected to the show. So I get why people were upset about the way that essentially the playbill looked, because it was a direct copy of it. But the discourse over it was ridiculous. I mean, let her say what she wants, but also I think she needs a stronger PR team around her, because it's a little bit chaperone in the way that, like, yes, you should express yourself, but also if it even reads remotely ungrateful, people are not going to like that. They're just not going to like it. And this is such a big film, and they've clearly put so much money behind the press tour. It's like any little thing, they're going to run with it. It's going to be under a microscope times a billion. So I'm like, I wonder what her PR team is thinking through all of this. I think they're panicked. I think they're panicking when stuff like that is said. And then lastly, I'd like to say, people have been talking about Cynthia's changed look. She's also changed in the way that she looks. She's very angular these days. I think she's probably lost weight, but she's always been athletic. She's always been a runner. And what we're seeing now is that she doesn't have hair and she doesn't have eyebrows. And to me, I think that's the only difference. I think that without the eyebrows, it just reads differently. You read differently without that. You take a factor that is a major component of someone's face, and it just changes the way that they are. It changes the balance of the face and stuff. I think if I was her makeup artist, I would try to encourage eyebrows because I think she is so naturally gorgeous and stuff. And who am I to say? Do whatever you want, wear whatever you want. That would be my advice if I was a makeup artist for her. I would put the eyebrows back on. But people are really upset about it. They're constantly talking about how different she looks and like someone said alien-like. I'm like, this is unacceptable. You can't talk about a woman of color like that. Let's just everybody tone it down. Now, last but not least on this specific topic, this is like a major topic because I love Wicked and I'm so excited. If you haven't yet, you should go watch Cynthia Erivo's performance on Jimmy Fallon. She did a whole song challenge where he does like a beep boop boop boop, like it rotates through song choices for this time it was Broadway songs and to sing them in a different style. And she did The Sound of Music in an R&B spin-off version of that, and it was so incredible. And then she did like an operatic song, she did a country song, she did all that jazz as a country song. It was just good. She's so talented. She could sing the phone book. And I'll throw the phone book because it's so good. You gotta watch it. You'll love it. Okay, here we go. Now, so, I don't know if we're at 5 or 6. Oh, that was 7. Well, that was 7 things that made me say a damn this week. And then before we get to the one that you guys voted on, I thought I was only supposed to do 6, but whoopsie daisy, you got a bonus one, I guess. Let me play you very quickly the voice memo of the week. This is a segment I'd like to include in the show, and we'll see. If you like it, we'll keep it. If you don't, I might still keep it. We'll see. But this is my favorite voice memo of the week. I sent this to my friend who just had a kid recently.
Sarah, how's the little baby doing? Okay, if you need a lullaby, I'll sing it. No one asked for this, but here it goes. Little baby, I love you. Sleeping in the corner, yes you do. I love you. Sarah does too. Ooh, 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 ooh. What a fucking mess that is.
It's very Adam Sandler, isn't it? Well, so Sarah messaged me almost immediately after, and she's like, I played that for my baby. They did not fall asleep. So it didn't work, but maybe it put you to sleep. I might play it for myself tonight because I've been having some insomnia, and maybe that'll finally put me out. Anyway, I just wanted to do a little interruption with something from my week, something silly. So, you had 4 options as an audience to decide on what's the final topic, the thing that you wanted to hear most for me to talk about this week. Drum roll! You're probably like, what were the 4 things? Well, you gotta go on my Instagram and see these things. I post them on Saturdays and Sundays now for the vote, and by the end of Sunday, I'm gonna have my final tally. So that's how that's gonna work from now on. It'll be 4 topics each week that are like, what's the 7th? A damn, what's the thing? What's the big pop for the week? And the thing you all voted on, or majority voted on, not all, is, are we positive John Krasinski is the sexiest man alive? That was an article by The Cut. That is such a strong wording. So the way that we do this topic, though, is every day I'm going to flip the coin, and it'll tell me if I'm going to answer about this question sincerely or shadily with a smile. And lucky for you, it landed on shady with a smile before this. So, here we go. No, he is not the sexiest man alive. But no one ever is. They're doing this to sell magazines. And clearly, he has had a big push this year for things. Like, he had a very successful movie franchise continue in A Quiet Place, or whatever. The new one sucked. It was terrible. What a waste of time. A Quiet Linger, if you will. Let me readjust myself so I can be a little bit more shady. Yes, and everybody at my work even, we were talking about, like, who should have gotten this instead, and everybody had a different answer, which goes ahead and tells you we're not all going to ever agree on who it is, but I think we can all agree it wasn't him. He's not the one. I love him. I think he's very talented, and I think he's definitely had a glow up in his life, but he wasn't unattractive to begin with. He could be on the list, and I mean, he locked down Emily Blunt. That's his wife, you know? I know her best from the Mary Poppins revival or Devil Wears Prada. But I don't know about Sexiest Man Alive. I'm not getting it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not understanding it. Here's an interesting thing about Sexiest Man Alive. So People does this every year, right? Every time that they do this, whoever is voted as Sexiest Man Alive has to accept the award. It's not like they can just gift it to you because you have to do a whole press tour for it. It's like Wicked. I mean, they have to go around and do a press tour for this. Obviously, they have to do the photo shoot cover for the magazine itself, but it involves way more than that. So it's a big undertaking, and it's a lot to do. But people like Ryan Gosling have denied it before and been like, I don't want this. I don't want it. And I don't know if it's because he's humble or because he's lazy. I don't know which one it would be. I don't know if he's like, this is too much work. I don't want to do a press tour. Or if he's like, this is very vain and I'm not interested in it. Either way, I'm happy with it, but we know Ryan is very hot. Like, Ryan would have been a great choice for it, specifically last year with Barbie coming out. I don't know. Who do you think should have won? Because I'm going to throw out a few names that I think could have gotten it. I think Jonathan Bailey's having a big year with Wicked. I think he could have gotten it. It would have been great to have a gay man, outwardly gay man, win this award, specifically in the year that we're having, where like queer rights are kind of on the line and sort of a scapegoat, and I'm not going to be negative, but that's what's going on. I think he would have been a great choice. Everyone at work said Idris Elba should get it again. I actually think Aaron... Let me look up his name really quick. He's playing Mufasa right now, and I think he would have been an excellent choice. You know, because it does need to be about press a little bit. Aaron Pierre. He's very, very attractive. You should go look him up. But he's having a huge year. You know, those are the two front runners that I have. And if you're going to pick somebody from The Office, why wouldn't you pick Dwight? You see how silly that sounded? Come on. Or, hear me out, another person that we could have picked is Nobody Wants This. Did you watch that show on Netflix? It was a big to-do. It was a big rom-com this year. Well, the lead guy from that was acting opposite Kirsten Bell, he used to be in the OC. He's very hot. He had a huge year. They just renewed the show, and I know it's just a show, but like, think of people that are in the zeitgeist right now. Like, I guess that's my word of the day. Is that my word of the day? Now, I always get the word zeitgeist confused with Zagat. Remember the Zagat, like, it's like a review for a restaurant or something, and it's like Zagat reviewed. Remember that mess? Okay, well, anyway, here's zeitgeist, word of the day. The defining spirit or mood of a particular period of history, as shown of the ideas and beliefs of the times. Wow, this story really captured the zeitgeist of Adam's podcast. All right, we'll be right back. That was all the topics I have, and I can't wait to see what you vote for this upcoming week. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens this week, and then we'll vote together. Because your vote counts here. Not me laughing like it doesn't. No, it does. It counts here. All right? And if I don't like the popular vote, I change it. We'll be right back with my friend Kiara Hines.
Hey everyone, this is Linda LaFaye, and I've always got something to say. And today, the topic is about those of you who have dogs, and yes, I have 2 doggies too, so I love dogs. You need to understand everybody doesn't love a dog, your dog, so you need to have some respect for the people and their space. I'm lucky enough to be at the beach this week, and I'm going to tell you, at my beach, people can take their dog, they can walk them, they're supposed to have them on a leash, I believe. But I've experienced people just letting their dog, even on a leash, come up into my space while I'm sitting there reading my book, having my beverage, sitting in my chair, minding my business. Their dog got too close to me. I have been scared of dogs. When I was little, I had an accident and I was carrying some glass bottles and my daddy's hunting dogs got out and it scared me and I dropped those bottles, and then to run back to the house I ran through that glass and I cut up both of my feet and I had to go and have them stitched up, and it was so bad the doctor fainted. But anyway, I grew up being kind of scared of dogs. And I'm asking, respect people who have small children who might be afraid of your dog. If you have it on a leash, do you understand it is your job to manage your dog, your pet? Everybody doesn't love your dog like you do. I know that's part of your family, but it's just a fact. One more thing. You might want to be a little conscious of the odor that your dog might put off in your car, your home. Your nostril hairs have fell out or something. I don't know what has happened that you have not been able to smell that anymore. And you need to manage that, you know. Your little kitty cat might have a smell too, putting off whatever they're doing in that house. That is not attractive. Do you understand that if there's an odor when they walk in the door, they might not want to eat your food? I've already lost my appetite before we have arrived at our destination. So no, let's have a little respect for ourselves, our pets, and others. You're welcome.
That was my mom, and here's my dad. Interesting. He just laughed. Okay. He laughed and then he left. Back to the podcast. Okay, this is something I always ask my guests is when you're in a conversation that you want to get out of, whether, you know, it's just social batteries out or it's awkward, it doesn't have to be either of those examples, but you hear this noise to get out of it. What's the noise you hear?
I hear a ringing.
Oh, what? Let me hear it.
Yeah, like you know.
Like a tornado siren?
Yeah, something like that. Something like
Like, this is really spun out of control. I gotta get
yes.
out of here.
It's like the anxiety of like, yeah, I gotta go, you know.
It's time to G.I. Joe.
You know.
Yes.
Dip out. It's time to dip out. That's what I hear. That's why it feels I actually do feel this. And so it's very much like, yeah, I feel the anxiety. I have to leave.
Wow, the pitch of that was so great. Wait, do it
You know,
again.
I am a singer. I don't know what key that was in.
Yeah, because I'm a singer. No, what am I, Charlie Puth? I'm not gonna get. I don't have like pitch perfect hearing.
My goodness, could you imagine?
Oh my God, what is just
If
opening
you're
on
like,
my?
wait a minute.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, you're thinking about switching careers. What's making you feel like you want to do that?
Mm. I am, so I don't know if your viewers know, but I was once a th girl in the theatre. I
Yes,
loved
that's
being
how
in the
we met.
theatre. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we met in theater school. And it
Mm-hmm.
was,
Yeah, I think they know. They knew.
I'm right. This is the crowd.
Is that not
Uh,
how you say it? Theatric?
Theatre. Some people don't, and that's weird. I always say
Everybody
theatre.
should be.
Theatre. I can't say it. I can't not say it that way. It's a thing, you know.
Also,
Uh,
like, why when we started spelling it with the R-E at the end, now I'm mad when it's ER.
yes, absolutely.
Always.
It takes away the magic. It takes away the fun.
Yes. Don't make
Yes,
me lose my sparkle razzle dazzle.
honestly, my jazz hands, absolutely not. Will never.
No. Mm-mm.
So yes, that was the gig for a couple of years, and a lovely gig. I experienced some of my most memorable memories in this career, and it has been fabulous and wonderful. And
Tell
it
people some things you played. Like, what are some of the roles you had?
oh well, the last one I did Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. That was
Yes.
so much fun. I was also so old to be running around that stage like a child. Um, and that was my last one because I was like, child, I'm tired. Um, let's see what else I did. I did Gingy and Shrek.
Like
Uh,
Gingerbread Man?
yeah,
Yeah, love.
I've done Cinderella. I
Yes.
did Little Inez, Hairspray. So that's, the kind of type that I was giving. Very ingenue, very cutesy,
Yes.
giving child. I did Sarah in Ragtime.
And then the King and I, right?
Yes, my most memorable role.
Yes, very diverse resume.
Listen, I worked, okay?
They had
Essentially,
me
he was
booked.
booked.
Lumiere, she's here. Pass.
Pass. Yeah. Well, at this point, well, it's a pass. But I was so hungry for this career and so excited to be doing it that that I did it and I did it very well. But I felt the inkling very quickly after I graduated that I was not I'm not as excited as other people. I'm looking at other people and I'm like, oh, you are honored every single time you do a show. And sometimes I'm like, can you get me off the stage and cut my check? Like
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I'm not, my heart isn't in this the way that I see it is for other folks.
That's how I felt about theater. I still want to do TV stuff, but like I can't repeat a story more than like 3 times. After I've
Right.
if I've done it in front of an audience, I'm like, y'all got that, right? Like, you got it. What do you mean I have to do it again? I'm over it.
Many times, many times.
Groundhog Day, I can't with these emotions.
Every single time.
Especially if it's a joy show, like if it's a show where you're supposed to be really high energy and happy.
Listen.
Oh, that depressed me more than anything. I'm like, give me a sad story, please. I'll come out here and cry, and then I'll go home and I'm like, wow, I feel so good, you
But I
know?
cannot be
Like,
smiling all day. You
no,
cannot.
no, no, no. It puts the bi in polar. Like, I cannot do it.
I feel you. I totally understand. It is exhausting. It is exhausting having to have emotions that you currently do not have. So it's like if I am having a
Mm-hmm.
really bad day and here I go, have to be on stage, have to give you the razzle dazzle, and I am ready to fall apart on this stage. And that is essentially what happened.
Yeah.
Honestly, during COVID, we were all at home at the house. None of us could be performing. And I really got in touch with that for the first time of like, I don't want to push aside what my real feelings are. And so from there, I did a couple of more shows and I was like, yeah, no, really, my heart's not in it, girl. You're interested in other experiences. You're interested in feeling a wealth of things that I can't.
So you had this shift during COVID where you were thinking, I need to be honest with who I am, and good for you for acknowledging that and noticing it. What did you initially decide you were going to try to put your foot into and were gravitating towards?
Myself. So what I told myself was that my full-time job now is taking care of myself, eating 3 square meals a day, getting in all of my vitamins, taking my vitamins, decorating my room in a way that speaks to me and fills me. Truly, honestly, like giving myself the best of everything. Truly, that's what I said. My full-time job is now to take care of myself because that is something that I felt so stripped of in this career. My body felt like it was someone else's. I was performing and taking care of myself in order to be on someone's stage. The way that I felt about my weight, it was all for this stage. It was all for what people wanted to make of me. I'm your dog. Put whatever clothes you want on me, put whatever. But for the first time, it's like I don't have to do anything but take care of myself now. I get
Wow. So
I
you
get
went
to
from
do what I
being the
want.
vessel, you went from being the vessel and the product to being yourself. You are the job and everything else is the paycheck, the means to an end.
Absolutely.
Wow. I
Absolutely.
love that. And you're
Absolutely.
working a really, it seems like, I hope, fulfilling job because you're helping
Yes.
people through a nonprofit, and I'm hoping it's paying you adequately. Nonprofit cannot pay well.
No, I'm being paid very well. And it's also starting to drop little seeds of what is next for me. And so that's it feels very aligned, honestly. It feels like, the job's the job. Like, let's not say that we always love to go to work every single day.
Oh, no, we do. We love it. Thank you for the paycheck.
Thank you so much. If you're listening, please.
This isn't even sarcasm. Ah.
So serious. But also at the same time, I am thinking about, okay, well then what is next for me? And I have started to receive that. And when I decided to step away from performance, one of the things I was so worried about was the fact that I'd wanted to be a performer since I was very, very young. It's the only thing I remember really wanting to do, to be honest. So I'm like, how do I build a dream out of nothing? It was always with me and now it's not. And so what do I do now? Where do my dreams lie now? And I feel that I am starting to dream again and new passions are taking root in my heart. And it is really lovely. It's really lovely to meet it because, like I said, this was something that I've only known from being a child. But now it's like I get to meet my passion face to face. I get to create boundaries for myself and my passion. I get
Oh,
to
those are
if
so important.
I really when we were in school, we were children, we were babies, and so they weren't teaching us how to have boundaries. And so you go into this very adult career, and you don't know what's right and what's wrong, and how you should really be treated. Yes, I need my break, and yes, there's so many things where it's like that because sometimes the performance industry can be a very boundaryless industry if you don't have the right things to keep it safe. I'm like now I can create that for myself and learn those boundaries to keep myself safe while I am starting something new.
Amazing. So you are in a job now where you're starting to feel sprinkles of other interests. What's sprinkling? What's on the cake?
So my
You know I
cake,
love a metaphor.
I
It's so
love
corny,
it.
but whatever.
I love it so much. So what is on my delicious, yummy new passion cake?
Okay,
Um,
I'm getting hungry. Thank you very much.
but yes, on the top of the cake is creating space for folks, which is for me hosting and bringing people together.
So that gets your creative passion out still and
Oh,
you're hosting
absolutely.
events and stuff?
Well, I see it as soft skills. I am not afraid to talk to people. In my job now, they make me make announcements all the time whenever we go to conferences and stuff. They're like, you make the announcement about what we're doing. And it's like, yeah, I'm not afraid to, let me use my diaphragm and get this room quiet, you know? Those are skills that not everyone has. And so it's like, I know how to walk into a room and have a presence. I know how to speak to folks. I'm not afraid of it. And unless I'm in my introvert bag, then I'm like, don't talk to me. But otherwise, I don't have a problem with it. And so, and it fills me. It fills me to be able to facilitate in rooms. So that is kind of like the icing. And then just recently, I had an awesome opportunity to be on the planning team for a mental health block party here in Harlem. And that really brought together my love of community and wellness. And I was like, oh yeah, like that's the sprinkles. Like that's what I want to be doing. I want to be creating spaces, curating spaces that drive even these kinds of conversations where we can like really be ourselves. I think there's such a need for that. We keep talking about, community, but it's like, okay, but what does that really look like? How do we create a world where we don't just like show up to events and it's all about like looking cute and coming with your friends and then going home and it's like you still don't know anyone that you met at the time. I really want to figure that out. I want to bridge that in a very intentional way here. And so that block party that I helped work on was just so it felt very divine. And so I was like, all right, I think these are the new nuggets that I'm being thrown right now. I'm going to catch them. I'm going to start looking into ways that I can, certify myself, might be going back to school, child. Um, just trying to, do things so that I can really align myself on this new path that I may be going on. So
How did that fall into your lap, this mental health block party? Who curated that? How did you get involved with that?
I got involved with that over a DM. So a friend of
Oh,
mine, yes, a friend of mine who we had done a show together years ago. She posted on her Instagram, "Hey, we're looking for someone who lives in Harlem, kind of like all of the credentials for the role. Um, if anybody knows someone, can you point them my way?" And I DM'd her and I was like, "Hey, I live in Harlem. Kind of all of the things that you said I can do. You need help?" And so she got me in contact with the founder of the nonprofit who put it together called the Darkness Rising Project. Her name is Carlita Ector. Definitely go check her out. Check out the Darkness Rising Project. They provide free mental health resources to the Black community. It is a wonderful, wonderful cause, and they have amazing, incredible resources. So yeah, I
and
spoke
Kiara, is that nationwide or is that Harlem based? Where is this?
nationwide. It's nationwide. There's a tool on the website called the Rebuild tool, and it offers 10 free therapy sessions to formerly incarcerated individuals. So please, definitely anyone who knows anyone in that situation who might need some help, absolutely. And there's so many other tools on their website. But yeah, so I spoke with the founder and we had a lovely conversation. And I was like, yeah, listen, I don't have skills in this yet, or I haven't done something like this yet, but it is a part of something that I'm deeply passionate about, and I will work my ass off so that we have a good block party here. And I think that's exactly what happened. I did work my ass off, and I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of what
As you
happened.
should be.
Yeah.
As you should be. That's a big deal and it's a very important thing. And I'm so glad you plugged that, first of all. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, is there more conversations about maybe working with them again?
Yeah, so I did pitch myself for regular programming. I was like, I want to be facilitating, wellness activities. I would love to be doing meditating in the morning before we all go into work and into our days. Like, let's get on Zoom and let's meditate COVID style, let's find somewhere to meet. There are a couple spaces in Harlem that I'm like, oh, we can absolutely just like rent out this space and hold different types of wellness workshops and back through that
Okay.
company. So I wrote all this out in the email to the founder, just kind of pitching myself, putting myself in position. And then, this is where, nonprofit comes in. They're like, of course, we would have to look at budgeting for something like that, but that we would love that. That sounds so very exciting to us. And I'm like, okay. So y'all get the money and call me.
Wait, Kiara, that's huge though. First of all, not only are you advocating for yourself, you're really doing what you're setting out to do mission
Yes.
wise, as
Yes.
in fulfilling your soul and putting yourself first. You're putting yourself out there in a very bold way.
Yes. Yes.
As your friend, I couldn't be more proud of that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It felt like that. It felt like this is really courageous. I've never done anything like this before. Um, but it felt right. It felt like this is what is calling to me. And even if nothing comes from this, even if they're like, yeah, we can't find it, here, but please, maybe join us again next year. Even if they can't find it, it's just knowing, doing the practice of putting myself out there, doing the practice of saying out loud what I want, letting people know that this is what I want now, that there's a girl in Harlem who really wants to do this work. Maybe they don't have room, but somebody else does, and she can say, hey, call them, send them your resume or something like that. So I'm like this, it's practice. If nothing comes out of it, it's practice, and it's something that I don't think I was practicing before. Auditioning is a very different, it's also courageous and bold, one of the boldest things you can do. But I wasn't putting myself out there. Once again, I wasn't using my voice. I was singing and doing the dance for everyone, but I wasn't using me. So now I am. Now I'm literally, there's no character, there's no mask. This is me. This is what I'm passionate about. I hope you like it. And if not, do you know somebody who might?
No, it's the diametric opposite, honestly, because instead of trying to fit in the cogwheel of what already exists and fitting in the parameters of that and working that way, and you having no control over whether or not you fit, and it not having to do very, very little with your talent, to be honest, from a casting standpoint. To go from that sort of job application to I'm going to pitch what I like and am passionate about within the framework of your own company is the opposite. That is so great. That's amazing. And I hope that you continue to apply for not only things that you are passionate about in saying this is what I'd like to do, but also in finding jobs that align with that you can apply to directly that
Yes,
already exist. Because I
absolutely.
think if you loved that and you're drawn to the mental health space is what it's sounding like, especially when
Yes.
it comes to within your community, I think that there's a lot of jobs that exist in that space. We talked
Mm.
about maybe going back to school. What are
Mhm.
you thinking about in terms of school wise? What do you want to do? Are you gravitating towards psychology or social work or what is it?
I'm thinking psychology. I'm thinking that's like the
Knew it.
next best step. And also something that I've always been interested in. I probably would have majored in psychology if I didn't do musical theater.
Well, they're
Uh,
very close to each other.
yeah,
Acting and psychology are one and the
absolutely.
same.
And I honestly I credit theater for the openness of my heart. I think I that's how I learned to understand people was through characters. And then it's like, I grew up very religious, very strict, is giving we're not doing much. So, it's kind of breaking out of that and unlearning and relearning. I think theater had a lot to do with that because I was fascinated in so many of these different characters, and they're all real. All of these people, it's like they're all real over the world. You can see them wherever you go, and you can know them, and they can know you. And this can be our global community. And so, I credit theater for that. It opened my heart and continues to still open my heart. Listen, I still love theater. So it's always opening my heart. That's what art is for, art is to open us. So, but because of that, it's like, okay, but I really want to help people now. I really want to,
Yeah.
I want to get on the ground with people now.
What's making you feel like you need to go to school in order to do that? Have we talked to people in the field that are like, because I think there's always this feeling, and this is something I hope that you're not feeling about it, and I'm checking in on it. A lot of times when we went to school for the arts, we feel we're coming from a place of deficit and that we dismiss our own
Mm.
talents and feel that we need to quickly get up to speed with everyone, and the way to do that is to have a degree. Is to
Yes.
say, is to say I need the degree in order to fulfill what you expect in the room, but I'm gonna challenge you to think that you might not need to go back to school for it.
So yes, I have had this conversation with someone
You
who's in
have,
the
I'm sure
field.
you have.
Yes,
Yes.
someone who is kind of doing what I would like to be doing, but she is a licensed social worker, and so she was just telling me her experience behind it, and I do think that there is a feeling of credibility that I'm like I want to make sure I have, to feel like I can really hold space for folks, and like I've been trained for that. Like I think there's the alignment of it and feeling like that is something that is for me versus also having the training and the knowledge of like, okay, what to do when, maybe somebody shares something with me that rocks me a little bit. That's when I feel like your training comes in and your technique comes in and you're like, I know exactly what to do. So that's where my brain is with that. I want to be able to have that, but at the same time, I'm like, I could also just start hosting people and do it along the way.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it wherever it goes is where it should.
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure that you're not dismissing your capabilities and your skill set already, because
Yeah,
I know that within myself, I feel that sometimes as an artist. Like I went to school for something that doesn't have a applicability anywhere else, which
right.
is not true,
Yes,
and it
yes.
may be, and I'll just say it for myself. I think that you may not have to go fully to college to get a degree for it. You could do training elsewhere,
Right.
or have the skill sets from, because college is so expensive.
Right. And I've been thinking about certifications. I'm like, let's maybe start with
Yeah.
certifications. I also don't like school. Like
No, I know. Me
I've been
neither.
so removed from it for so
No,
long.
I remember this. That's why I was like, wait a minute.
I can't imagine what I would do if somebody asked me to write an actual like paper. I would be like, you're not getting it out of me. So I would have
I can
to,
I steal the paper?
can I steal it, please? Like, can somebody else do it? I'll read it and tell you what it's about, but somebody else please do this. So that's, another thing is I really don't like school. I've just been so far removed from it. So that would be a challenge if I wanted to do that. I would have to really, take that challenge on and say, this is what we're doing, girl. Who cares?
So, I mean, it honestly sounds like obviously you've put a lot of thought into this.
Yes.
It's not something that we're at the beginning stages of. This is a very thought out process. We know what lane we want to go down. There's a real draw from yourself for it. Where all are you applying, or are you in the stage of just like right now, it'll come to me? Where are you with that?
So the block party that I worked on was about 2 weeks ago. So I'm kind of like and like I said, I'm in the planning process with my other job of like kind of events and like the kind of the logistics that help something like an event work. So I'm kind of still in the middle of like those things kind of being dropped on me. So I've just been kind of like throwing ideas out in my head right now and having a conversation with my friend about what this might look like. So I haven't really gotten into any of like the planning things, but it definitely has been a well thought out, well talked out with my therapist. Like we have gone through it all because it wasn't an easy decision to make. Um, in fact, I felt a lot of shame around it. So I needed to peel it apart and take it
Why were
apart.
you feeling shame?
I was feeling shame because, like I said, this is something that I've always wanted. And really, when in therapy, what it got down to was I was feeling like I was disappointing my younger self because this
Oh,
is
for
my
changing lanes.
absolutely. This is just, like I said, this is what I've always wanted to do. And I think my younger self always wanted to see me on Broadway doing the thing. But also, you know what? Things change. And I think the younger version of myself can only see a certain version of this, only the positives. But when you actually live it and you go through it and you're like, wait a minute, something is off. I'm not happy. I want to be happy. Um, it's a hard. I like I if you can't tell, I do inner child work, and I have to have a lot of conversations with my inner child and comfort her.
Mm-hmm.
Because she feels like it's a temper like we're in a temper tantrum mode. And so I have to, quiet her down and say, hey, it's gonna be okay. We're still able to do everything we want to do, everything we love to do. You're still going to shine no matter what. Like, just whatever I have to say to my inner child to get her to calm down enough to know. But I think before I didn't know that. And that was what I was working out in therapy. And so I felt so much shame. I felt like I'm doing something wrong. I can't talk to anybody about this. I have to hide it. I didn't feel like I could be authentic in the fact that things were changing for me. So yeah, that's where it was kind of coming from, where it was born from.
It's hard to rationalize that though, because all the iterations that exist before you are still within, and you have to tell them, hey, this is where I'm at now.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever plan I had before, I can't be beholden to it. And honestly, if you do, if you do look at it from the context of this is me needing to entertain and achieve something, I'm doing something equally as impactful. I'm not maybe entertaining in a way, but I am helping someone and opening the perspective and the understanding of the concept of not just a character but a real person now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So
Absolutely.
they are sort of similar, but it's you can't rationalize that.
Right, right. Yeah, it's you definitely just have to go through it and you have to feel it. So yeah, so it's definitely been well thought out. Listen, the conversations, and I'm still having conversations about it because it is my biggest joy right now, and also like my biggest what the fuck am I doing?
But you know what the fuck you're doing, honestly.
Yeah.
It sounds like you really do. And it's very recent since you did the block party and you're
Mhm.
gainfully employed and you are doing similar
And
things.
that.
Yes, you're doing something in the lanes of. It's not totally drastically different than what you enjoyed about the block party. I'm glad you had that little sprinkle
I know.
to, see that that is even more in the lane of what you like,
Yeah.
and it's down the lane of the nonprofit sector, which you're gainfully employed in. It's like, it's just a little bit of the path course correcting. You're on
Yeah.
a path and it's
Mhm.
just course correcting a little, which is so fun to see. When you came
Yeah.
up with this as the topic, I didn't know how far along the road you were on this.
Okay, got it, got it. Yes.
I
Yeah.
didn't. So to check in with you and hear this is so exciting as your friend that like we're not lost in the abyss of what do I do next. I had all of these like things set up in case you were there, and I don't have to say any of it, which is
No, no, no.
fabulous.
Listen, well, I was
Yes.
there. Let's be honest. That part did happen, but we're just a
Oh,
little further
yes.
along.
Yeah, well, you have to get to the next part.
Right,
But I
absolutely.
mean, it is so difficult, and it can't be stressed enough when you have a vision for your life and it's going one way, and you're on that train, you're riding that train, you're not even driving that train anymore. You're somewhere in the train. I love a metaphor. And it's
Yes.
like I don't even know what track I'm supposed to be on. I'm just on a train and I don't feel like I'm in control,
Yeah. Yep.
and to finally get up to the front of the car, which takes a lot of work,
Yes.
and steer
Yes.
it where it needs to go and change the track,
Yeah.
you know? So I'm really proud that you did that because you have to listen to yourself and know what's aligning, and you can change your career at any point. Take it from an elder generation that you can do that at any point.
I will always listen to the elders. Always.
Respect me. Respect your elders. We're the same damn age. I can't. Yeah. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit in the same thing. What I've been doing is kind of just yes anding any job for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I've done casting since COVID, and I love it. I really do.
Mm.
It's for unscripted, which is something I never thought I'd be interested in. And sorry, I'm switching it to me just for a second because I want to
I
say
was
we have
gonna
a
ask.
commonality.
I was gonna ask.
No, we have a commonality here. And right now I'm deciding, I think I'm interested in interior design. So,
Because can we also talk about the back of your home right now? This is your home that we're
oh, I
in.
turned my camera off. I don't even know what you're seeing. I can't look at myself on these. What? Oh,
It's
yeah.
your home.
I did like I
It's
don't know my
literally,
room.
yeah,
I had to
I'm like,
turn
it's
around.
literally your
Oh,
home.
wow. Look at that room. What a shocker. It just like changes behind me. There's a scrim. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I,
It's
I, I
gorgeous.
don't have outdoor space, so I like to bring the outdoors in a
Yes, it's
little.
lovely. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
It's so oh, it's just so sweet and soft. Like I feel like I want to sit on that green couch with your blanket and just
Yes.
curl up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as you should. I can't wait. You should visit sometime. I would
Oh my
love that.
God, I need to.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this sample and just use it as my reference for my resume. Thank you so much. That's all I
Yes.
needed. That's the whole episode. No, it's so weird. I recorded this episode so long ago, so many weeks ago, and this is exactly where I'm at this week. I'm currently at this exact place. I'm thinking about this myself. So, Kiara, thank you so much for your kind words and being such a great guest. And I hope everybody's enjoying the new format. If you're not, you have any questions or comments or concerns, keep them to yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Put them I don't know, on my DMs. Put them on my comments or something. Social media. You've got an hour. That's the name of my social media for this. And I hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you next week if you want to watch it on YouTube, and you will hear me next week. You will hear me. Even though it's a national holiday here in the States, we're still going to release an episode because I'm just like that. I'm consistent, okay?
You know.